So welcome, my name is Sheena. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoy this video, and if you do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and come back soon. So let's get right into today's topic. Today we have a pretty interesting topic. So in my previous video, I did a video speaking about brands that I no longer support as a Christian, brands that I kind of just felt convicted about, you know, when looking at their branding, packaging, messaging, like looking at what some of the names meant. And that's a previous video that I did, so you can go ahead and check that one out. But today I wanted to do something just on the contrary, on the flip side, and that is just brands that, let's say I was at a Sephora, a Ulta, brands that I would be picking up that I have no, conviction about. We'll have some Christian brands mentioned in there as well. I just want to provide alternatives, and I don't want it to seem like you can't shop at the stores that everyone else shops at, then like you can't, pick up some of these things at your favorite stores like Sephora or Ulta, because I know I still do. There's brands that I still love, enjoy, and use. So I wanted to share those, and of course include some Christian brands in there as well. So let's get right into it. So in terms of category, I'll just try to keep it to like an alternative to something that I mentioned in the previous video. So let's say we were at Sephora today. One of the first categories that I mentioned in that last video was a hair product. So let's say I wanted some alternative hair products. I would be picking up something from maybe a brand like Heyy. I think that's how you say it. It's O-U-A-I. But I really enjoyed their products. I've used their leave-in conditioner before. I've used their shampoo. They have a wonderful clarifying shampoo. They have wonderful products in my opinion. So let's say I was at Sephora today and I was in the hair section. That's probably one that I would be picking up. Another one would be Olaplex. I use their bonding oil and it is just excellent, and I look forward to using more of their product line. I know that their products are excellent in terms of just strengthening your hair and getting your hair to like optimum health. So Olaplex is one for sure that I still use, and I think it is, worth the hype, their products. So let's say I was at Sephora today, I'll probably be picking up that if I'm in the hair care section. Another brand is K18. They are just another product line that focuses on like strengthening the hair, repairing your hair, keeping it in optimum health and condition. So K18 is something I would probably pick up. Another one is Briogeo. I have used their products as sample before and it was really, really good. So I definitely probably pick up something from them if I was in the hair care section at Sephora. Again, that's Briogeo. Just looking at their website, I believe it's a Black-owned brand. I could be wrong, but they just seem to support like really good causes. So Briogeo would probably be one that I would pick up if I was in Sephora looking for hair care products. And an alternative to like some brands that I mentioned in the last video, another brand would probably be Color Wow. I've used their Dream Coat Spray. It's a spray that kind of like keeps your hair straight when you straighten it, protects you from humidity, and it is worth the hype. It's an excellent product. So I would probably pick something up from Color Wow. And another one would be Kenra. I know they have like a really good blow dry spray that I want to try. So, there are plenty of brands that you could still purchase, and from my opinion and just looking at the branding, the website, and nothing about the branding, the packaging, the messaging that would give me any sort of conviction or raise any red flags as a believer. So that is some products that I would pick up if I was at Sephora today. And of course you can use your own discernment as you look at packaging, as you look at branding, messaging, website. There's probably a whole bunch more that you could choose for yourself. So on to the next topic. In the last video I spoke about a brand that has like a popular lip product. So let's say I was looking for lip products at Sephora, just like not lipstick or lip gloss, but like maybe like an everyday balm. I would probably pick up something from Summer Fridays. I know they have really good products, really good lip products, and I just love their packaging, their branding. So Summer Fridays would be one that I would probably pick up if I was at Sephora today. Another brand is Tower 28. I've heard excellent things about their lip gloss. I just love that kind of simplistic packaging and messaging, and I've heard really good things about their products. So maybe one that I would pick up is Tower 28. And another brand is Heyy. I believe that's how you say it, Heyy or Heyy or Heyy. But it is a clean makeup brand. So I definitely want to check them out. They sell them at Sephora as well. The next topic would be, in that last video I spoke about like a shaving product that I don't use anymore. So, and that one was a drugstore, so we'll choose a drugstore alternative for that one. So let's say I was at a drugstore, Walmart, CVS. I would probably pick up, I guess in its place, maybe I would pick up EOS, which stands for Evolution of Skin. Maybe Tree Hut. I know they have a good shave oil, so maybe that's one that I would pick up. And if we want to talk about like drugstore hair products, one of my favorite brands is OGX. I think it's like short for organics. And then another one would be just some good old Suave. You'll be surprised at some of the quality of some of their hair products. So some Suave, like the Moroccan oil or the argan oil line. There's plenty of stuff to choose from the drugstore. And let's say we were looking for fragrances. If I was at Sephora, maybe a fragrance brand that I would pick up is maybe Valentino. I really like their Born in Roma line. And I still like Prada. I know the Prada Paradoxe, that smells really nice. I like Fleur. There's a brand called Salt and Stone. So maybe something like a Salt and Stone or Fleur. Those are some that I would feel perfectly fine in picking up. So now let's get to some Christian brands. I just love the opportunity to support Christian brands, mention Christian brands, because I think it is important to shed light on those brands and eventually have them be at the forefront of the marketplace like other brands. So one of the companies that I mentioned in my previous video was a fragrance company. So now let's talk about fragrances, which is right up my lane, which is my favorite thing to shop for. So in terms of fragrances, we're going to talk about one that is near and dear to my heart, and that is my own fragrance line that I recently created, something that God led me to create and was speaking to me about for like over a year now. And I finally obeyed. Obedience is something that I speak about a lot, but I finally obeyed and did what He was leading me to do. And of course, I love fragrances, so it has been a joy to create. But that is a fragrance brand called Glory Fragrances. Of course, by the name, you could imagine it is intended to give God glory. So I will leave that link below. But it is perfume oils at this moment. And the names are just meant to glorify God, or just biblical concepts, terms, and just things that reflect our faith. So there's a fragrance called His Bride. It's just like a beautiful rose floral fragrance. And His Bride is referring to the church being the bride of Christ. So technically it could have been like men and women, but I don't think any male is going to buy a fragrance called His Bride. So it is a woman's fragrance, but the name is just making a reference to us being the bride of Christ. There's a fragrance called King of Kings, which is a name of God, and that's a male fragrance. There's a fragrance called Man of War, which is another name of God, and of course that is a male fragrance. There's a fragrance called Fruitful, which comes from, I believe it's Genesis, where God told Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply. There's a fragrance called Milk and Honey. It's like the best vanilla that you'll smell. It's a sweet vanilla fragrance, but it has depth to it. It's not like your typical like childish kind of vanilla kind of smelling scent. It's one of the best vanilla fragrances that I ever smelled, and that would be Milk and Honey. And that is a reference to, I can't remember what chapter it is in the Bible, but when God took the children of Israel out of Egypt and He told them He was bringing them into a land of milk and honey, which is symbolic of just like prosperity, wealth, and just overflow. So that is where the name comes from, Milk and Honey. There's one called Purity, which we know as believers we are called to be pure in mind, body, and spirit. There's one called the Comforter, and the Comforter is another name for the Holy Spirit. I'll leave it somewhere here where we are told that the Holy Spirit is also known as the Comforter, which is one of His roles, which is one of the things that we can look to Him for. But it is another sweet fragrance with dimension. I'm not a huge sweet fragrance person, but if I do wear something sweet, it has to be like special. It has to have some like dimension to it. So that would be the Comforter, and I will leave the link down below. Hopefully you check it out. And then next would be a product that I've been using. So when I did another video talking about Christian brands, this brand actually reached out to me and sent me their products, and recently I've actually been using it for some months now, so I can actually give an accurate kind of review and just genuinely say I like the product, not because it's a Christian brand. And that would be this hair oil that I received from the brand is Dana, and I will of course leave the link down below. She is a believer and this is her hair care line, and I've actually used it and I've seen just really nice growth. It seems to be a really good hair product. I've used a lot of growth oils, and this is definitely a good formula. Does what it says it's going to do in terms of hair growth and length retention, and it's just a really good product. I love, discovering new products and sharing them, and especially if it's from a Christian creator. So that is Dana, and I will leave that down below. I think this is the last one, but it is a feminine hygiene brand, and I thought it was just so cool to see a Christian feminine hygiene brand, and the brand is called The Pink Bible. They have just an extensive line of feminine care, feminine hygiene, feminine washes. I'm not sure if they have a monthly kind of menstrual products, but I know they have feminine wash and just a whole line of feminine products. I really enjoyed discovering that brand, and I just love the whole branding and messaging, and just, having something from a faith-based company that is producing things to go into that area. I think that's, something that in the future I definitely want to support and try out, and hopefully, I enjoy them. There's so much more, and I just again love bringing these brands to the forefront. I'll just include them in whatever kind of content I create, or this type of content. And also, I love discovering and bringing Christian brands to the forefront, and of course talking about brands that you can find just while you're shopping. I'm someone who loves to shop, so I, want to include things that if I was at the store today that I would be buying. So look forward to more of that, and I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and come back soon. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.